Hey everybody, it is Mike Young, 54 years young. Welcome to this video about an introduction to the Villages community in Florida. I've got a lot of information to go over with you, and let me give you the very first, most important bit of information or nugget of information, and that is you want to make sure to join our group. Look down below in the description down here. It's called The Villages Florida Community Information. The Villages Florida Community Information. Check out these birds right behind me here. Okay, so if you're new to the Villages, and you probably are at least somewhat new to the Villages, that's why you're watching this video, I got a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. All right, first of all, the Villages Florida is the largest planned community in the world. It's in Florida, of course. It's sunny. That's why I've got my hat on with the flaps in the back, my little neck thing. I love the sun. You want to be out in the sun, but you don't want too much sun. You know, it's like a lot of things. It's like kind of like medicine, right? Unlimited too much is not a good thing. In fact, it's usually poison. Okay, you got to get just the right amount. So on the sunny days like today, you'll find me out here in a hat. Now, if it was overcast and cloudy, sometimes those happen. I won't be out that way. All right, well, how big is the Villages? First of all, the Villages does have its own census designation, census defined area, something like that. I'm not sure what it is, exactly what the term is. Comment down below if you know what that is. But it's kind of like a metropolitan area with its own census area. It's giant, okay? It takes up 3 counties here in Florida. Started out in Marion County, then went into Sumter and Lake counties. Most of it is in Sumter County. And if you don't know about Sumter County, it is actually the highest average age of any county in the United States. Last time I checked, I'm making this video in 2025, I think it was 63. Now, I'm 54 years young. Mike, 54 years young, in case you're wondering who this young guy is. That's me, 54 years young. My wife, Denise, is also 54 years young, and we have 6 grandchildren at the recording of this video. So that's who we are. There's people of all ages that live in this community, and yeah, it's a 55 community. So not only is it the world's largest planned community, it's the world's largest 55 plus community. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean you can or cannot get into this community? Well, believe it or not, at this point in time, anybody can buy a house, okay? Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it, all right? Anybody can get in here and live in the Villages planned community. I'll call it a planned community. I'm not sure if it's a city or a town officially. Some places have the Villages, zip code or city town name in their address. Some don't, but it's called like a bubble here too. The bubble is another thing you'll hear referred to in the Villages. Like if you're in the bubble, you're in the planned community. If you're outside the bubble, you're outside the planned community. Now, what does that mean from being in or out of the planned community? This tree's getting me. Well, a couple things. Number one is you're going to pay a lot more in taxes. There's all kinds of fees. There's something that you want to learn, first of all, about real estate here called a bond. Now, I was talking with a friend earlier today, and that's kind of what spawned this making of this video. Because, of course, we have a group. Like I said, click down below, join our group, ask away with all questions, all kinds of questions. We'll welcome you. We'd love to have you in the group. Now, how did the Villages start off? It started off like a lot of places in Florida. And by the way, this is Florida winter I'm in right now, early February. It's like 85 degrees out here, which is why I'm in the shade. And it started out as a trailer park, a 55 plus trailer park. There's lots of 55 plus trailer parks. If you go around the state of Florida, you'll see them all over the place. That's how this started in Marion County. Now, the hallmark of a trailer park is, of course, affordability, for one thing, as long as your monthly fees aren't too high, because sometimes those monthly fees become outrageous. Now, the monthly fees are kind of sizable here, but we'll get into that. I think there's a lot of value here for the money. Some of the trailer parks, you don't own your land. Some of them you do. But this started out as a trailer park, I think, where you own the land. And so it was affordable to buy into here. And it meant that you had almost no land. Because if you look at a trailer park or any trailer parks, and I'm speaking from a real estate background, they put the least amount of land they can possibly put on there. That's one of the reasons why it's affordable, because you have almost no land. Now, that is a hallmark here of the Villages here in Florida, because you have almost no land in your property. They're all, even the newer houses, which are no longer trailers, are not making trailers anymore as new homes. Where are those birds? There's one, two. They're the ones on the other side of the tree. You can't see it. Let me fix this. I just messed up my coloring. There we go. Okay. Everybody gets a detached single-family home. Okay, everybody gets one of those. So keep that in mind. You're not going to get condos. You're not going to get townhouses. You're not going to get high-rises, mid-rises, whatnot. Now, there are some apartments, but I think they're reserved for the lifestyle experience. If you don't know what that is, go to the official Villages website. You can sign up for that. It's usually a discounted rate at one of their facilities. It's centrally located near the squares. And actually, I'm at one of the squares right here. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. But these lifestyle experiences mean you get to pay a very small amount of money, usually like $100 a night, and they set you up with a golf cart, and they set you up in a centrally located area where you can drive the golf cart around. And this is a golf cart community. I got to get into that too. Now, I just talked about squares. And you're like, Mike, what are squares? Mike, 54 years young, what are they? Okay, well, they're basically manufactured downtowns that are throughout the community. This community has 150,000 plus residents, largest planned community in the world, takes up three counties, has its own census designated area. Okay, also has the lowest crime rate in the state of Florida. Okay, that's a good thing. Everybody has a detached single family house, and so they built these downtowns. Now behind me is Lake Sumter Market Square is what they call it. If you look in our group, if you join our group, one of the first things you'll see is that there's a link that shows you all the fake history of Lake Sumter Market Square. It's one of the squares. Another one, the original one, which is north of here, is Spanish Springs Town Square. That's the original one. And then there is Brownwood Paddock Square, which is south of here. We're kind of in the middle. We're in between the sixes. If you hear people talk about being in the sixes, where do you want to be when you're by the Villages? Be within the sixes. A lot of people will say that. Now, what that means is, there's no like hard boundary between the Villages and the rest of the world. It is a bubble, but it's a controlled access community. It's not even a gated community, even though it may look like a gated community to you when you first drive up to it. It's not a gated community, okay? I'll explain that as well. Well, okay, so we've got 3 squares. We've got another one under construction, which is called Eastport. That's south of the Florida Turnpike down here. And you've also got Sawgrass Cove, which is not a complete square. It's not even close to a complete square, but they have music and other things. Now, that's the thing. I can hear it here. I've got the special mic, so you probably can't hear it. I got this mic so you don't hear any extra noises. But every night, unless there's severe weather or Florida winter cold, which there was a couple weeks ago. Florida winter meaning it gets down to like 40 degrees for an all-time low, maybe a little bit less than that. Sometimes it gets to freezing, I think. But usually the entertainment is every night, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at every square. You type in on any search engine, the Villages Nightly Entertainment, you'll see the schedule. They'll have their live bands free of cost, free of charge, no cost to park. These are downtown squares. They have businesses. They want you to show up. They want you to go out to eat. They want you to buy a cup of coffee or whatever else they have going on. Okay, there's even a Panera Bread in the one down here. There are all kinds of. There's a Starbucks over here too, but there's also local places, and we say you should probably try the local places. Okay. And before I get too far, I want to tell you all that we have the Villages Health Optimization Club. We run a club. Okay, there'll be a link down below if you want to click on it now, but I'll tell you more about the clubs in a little while. Okay, so every square has live music, party, like rocking. Some of the bands are not so great. Some of them are awesome. Okay, get in the Villages community information, TVCI, our group, which is down below. Find out about the bands. We'll tell you about the good bands, the bad bands, all that kind of stuff. You'll hear it all in our group. But it's awesome. It's free, live entertainment. People are dancing out there, and the weather's almost always good between 5 and 9 p.m., even on the cold days. Usually, late afternoon is the warmest part of the day, right? So they rarely have to close it down. 365 days a year, they have free live entertainment at every square. And Eastport is the one that's south of... it's the one that's under construction, like I mentioned earlier, south of the Turnpike. That's going to have its own area too. That's going to be on the water. Like right here, Lake Sumter Market Square is on the water. Spanish Springs is not on the water, although they have their own Villages hospital at Spanish Springs, which is pretty awesome. I hope you never need to go there. And join our Health Optimization Club, the Villages Health Optimization Club. Like us on Facebook, okay? I'll put the link down there below. Another thing is that Brownwood Paddock is not on the water. and Sawgrass Cove is not on the water, but Eastport will be on the water, and that's going to be like the furthest probably expansion of this whole area. Now, okay, let me get back to a few other key points I was talking about. This is not a gated neighborhood, okay? Everybody's very friendly, I'd say. They say it's Florida's friendliest hometown. I guess it is, because it's not perfect, but it's way better than most places. Did you hear those? I don't know if you can hear that. Okay. Ducks. Anyway, friendly people, courteous people. Most people are not in a rush around here because most people are older. And I mentioned earlier, you don't have to be 55. It has to be like a certain percentage of the population that owns houses. And everybody's a homeowner, although you can rent on Airbnb, but the rental market's saturated. You can even do long-term rental, but the rental market is saturated. Unless you're independently wealthy, you are not going to be making money off of houses in this neighborhood renting. There's lots of snowbirds down here. We have a Florida Snowbirds group on Facebook too, which has like 108,000 people in it. Join that too if you want to learn about renting for snowbirds. But a lot of the snowbirds who are here in the villages just don't rent their places out. They just kind of are here in the wintertime, like Denise and I, and then they go, okay? But you can rent, just again, it's not going to cover your expenses. That's what you got to recognize, okay? Don't think I'm going to rent it out for what you are, or you're going to try. And when you see how little you get for it, you're going to realize you're paying out every month. That's the thing. You're not going to make any money. You're not going to even break even. Not at today's prices. So, okay, it's a golf cart. All right, let me go back to controlled access. Not a gated community, but a controlled access, meaning you'll see gates in all the different villages. That's what they call each neighborhood. And this is kind of like, there's the lines that define the villages and other places. They kind of interweave. Some places are not villages. Some places have regular houses. Some places have trailers that are not part of the villages. But you can't get into the village's neighborhood except for these controlled access gates, okay? And golf carts can go into these neighborhoods too. Golf carts can't really go and drive outside of the village's streets, even though they're all public streets. You'll see lots of circles in the villages for vehicular traffic. And but what you will see, like I said, is these things that look like gates. Some of them have gate houses with humans in them. And what you'll find is that they have two lanes. One lane is usually on the right, which is for residents, and they have something on their vehicle, like a barcode or something, that identifies them as a resident. So when they drive up, the gate opens automatically. Somebody like me, I do not own property in the villages. Not now. Denise and I have been looking. Okay. And actually contact me if you need a realtor. I will connect you with one. I am a licensed real estate agent, but not in the state of Florida. But let me know, and I'll see about connecting you with somebody that I know that is good. Anyway, my information is below, or you can just text me if you're watching this, 240-205-0417, 240-205-0417. Okay, so if you're going to go into the visitor lane, if there's a human there, they'll wave at you, they'll smile, and they'll just raise the gate and you drive right in. You don't have to say one word to them if you don't want to, and usually I don't. I'm usually on my way. The other thing is, if nobody's there, you'll find that as you drive up on the left side, there's a red button. You just drive up and you push the red button, and the gate opens, magically opens, and you're in, just like that. So that's controlled access. They have cameras. Apparently they're watching your license plates as you go in and out. And that's it. They're all public streets, all accessible by everyone all the time. They're not going to keep you from going in. Does this all make sense? Give me a thumbs up if it all makes sense, okay? Controlled access. It's not gated. It looks like gated, but it's not gated. All right. The other thing is, it's a golf cart community. There's free golf for life. That's free golf on the 9-hole executive courses, I believe. Some of the other courses that are, at a price tier above the 9-hole executive courses, you're going to have to pay for. This thing on my anyway, but free golf for life if you go to the 9-hole executive courses. So that's a good thing, right? If you're in the golf. And I don't know if you can hear it, but there's all kinds of golf carts driving around here. This is a golf cart design community. Now, in the beginning, like I said, there were just trailers and they had super small lots. So that's carried over. They've gotten special permission from Sumter County, Lake County, Marion County to put in houses on smaller lots than you would think. And some of these are big houses now, but they're on really small lots. Some of them have golf cart garages where you can keep, just for your golf carts, a smaller garage. But all of them have access. Now, the older areas in Marion County have a little bit more challenging access, I would say, for golf carts, okay? Because the golf carts over there, a lot of times they are driving right in the same lane where your vehicle traffic is, and there's only like a little white line separating you. Does that make sense? So it's dangerous, if you ask me. And now they started out because they didn't know where they were going to go, but apparently the guy who started this, Schwartz, I think is his last name, something like that. You'll find the history there in Spanish Springs. Click on that if you want to know more. That's real history, actually. He went to expand. They're like the Disney World now for retired adults. That's how I would say it. But again, there's many working adults here now, especially work remote, because since that's a thing, many working adults here. And the golf cart access is much easier on the middle, in between the sixes, meaning 466, okay? That's right up here. Over here, 466 is just north of here, and then there's another 66, or a road that ends in 66. I can't remember which one it is. That's north of Brownwood Paddock. So that's kind of like the middle area. And the golf cart access is way better down there in the newer areas because they have totally separate paths that are adjacent to the roads that are just for golf carts or runners or bikers or walkers or something like that. And they're removed from the roads, which is awesome, because that's the biggest thing when you're on the roads is you might come in contact with vehicular traffic, and you all know who wins if somebody, even in a golf cart, connects with a moving heavy car. It's not the golf cart. So you'll also find that there's tunnels that go under a lot of these circles. There's tons of traffic circles, like I said, but a lot of times they have tunnels so the golf carts don't have to go through the traffic circles. There are big golf cart bridges that span over some of the major highways. There's one near Spanish Springs. There are two near Brownwood Paddock. There's one over the Turnpike, and they all have the big Villages logo. They light up at night, all this kind of stuff. So golf-centric, right? Like I said, free golf for life if you're doing the 9-hole courses. It seems like everybody has a golf cart they're driving around. They have special parking places in the squares and other shopping centers. More shopping centers than just these squares, I noted, okay? And they all have, like, preferred parking up near the front. Thing is, a lot of them, they don't have air conditioning. It does get kind of hot here. You got to kind of really get moving. But some of them, like the electric golf carts, they do have air conditioning. I don't know how long their batteries lasted. I tested some of those out. Actually, I have some videos on Denise and I testing out the electric golf carts. So there's a lot to think about here, a lot to talk about. All right, what else does getting you into the villages and buying housing and getting into the planned community get you? It gets you the ability to join one of the 3,000 clubs. All right, that's the thing. The Villages is legendary for their size, which means you have clubs of all kinds. And you can only access these official Villages club, which is on the official Villages app, if you are a property owner, or if you rent, I think, over a certain number of days and you get the special pass. If you're renting from a private landlord or somebody, you're going to make sure you're actually entitled or allowed to use these amenities. And their amenities are the clubs, just showing up at the clubs, or when I say clubs, I mean just social clubs. And then there are fitness clubs as well, like buildings and things that you can or cannot go into depending upon whether you're a property owner. And you do pay for this. And the bond, like I said, the bond is what enables the county jurisdictions around here, Sumter, Lake, and Marion, to allow the developer to cut everything up into super small lots. And they have to pay for the infrastructure that the county is, incurring. They're incurring a lot of water and sewer needs, a lot more than you'd think, because you're getting a lot more density in there, even though they're all detached single-family houses. So because of this, there's a thing called a bond, and I think the current rate right now is something like $50,000 a lot. Okay, that's the amount of money that's been determined is equivalent to the amount of impact, or like an impact fee that is commensurate with one family unit moving into that dwelling unit. So you may find, like on an older house, sometimes on a newer one, but usually not. Usually it's older houses that have the bond paid off. And if it's paid off, that means you don't have to pay that extra fee in your monthly taxes. I think it's how it's collected by the county, I believe. Or maybe it's by the developer. I'm not even sure. Doesn't matter. Somebody's collecting it, and you got to pay for that every month till it's paid off. So on older homes, that's the thing. A lot of times they have a lot of upgrades, and the bond is paid off. So a lot of times, believe it or not, older houses cost more than newer houses because of the reasons I just stated. Now, on a newer house, you're going to have a $50,000 money that you owe, okay? It's just outstanding until it's paid off. And then you're not going to have many or any upgrades on your house. So just consider that when you're looking at buying, that there's that kind of range of what's going on. Now, okay, now the clubs, like I said, paying this fee, owning property here in the villages entitles you to join the clubs, except for a club like ours, right? The Villages Health Optimization Club, which is the best club in the villages. It's the best club, okay? TVHOC, the Villages Health Optimization Club. Find us on Facebook, like us there, or go to plantbasedevents.info. That's right, plantbasedevents.info. Follow the calendar. You'll see our events on there, along with a few other events too. And totally free. And guess what? There's no age requirement for our club. There is no residency requirement for our club, and it's totally free. So it's the best club out there. And of course, we're totally focused on your health and not getting sick. Anybody out there like being sick? Raise your hand. I'm still waiting. Yeah, nobody likes being sick. We already know that. So we are the best club out there. We are the future. And if you're wondering how can you do this, what are you talking about? Well, we're not practicing medicine. We advise you to get your own doctor who is board certified in lifestyle medicine. But our club, the framework is built around the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine, combined with the 6 pillars of healthy vegan food. Learn more about healthy vegan food at healthyveganfood.info. That's our club. And you need support because nobody's doing this right now. But I wrote a book called Live to 150. I'm 54 years young right now, right? Mike, 54 years young, will be Mike 150 years young at some point. And now we're all about health span and longevity. That's why we're doing this. Okay, that was my little commercial. Let me go over to our group and rattle off some of the other facts that are popular. The Villages, this is what it looks like. You'll know you're there, okay? The Villages community information. All right, now I'm going to go to, if you go over here, description, see more. Okay, I'm going to read you. Talks about you can like our page for the Health Optimization Club. Okay. One of the things it is, yes, it's a metropolitan statistical area. We talked about it's the fastest growing metropolitan statistic area, or at least within the top 3 for the last who knows how many years running. It's a fast growing area, but everybody is kind of slower here. It's laid back. It's not like go, 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 go. Okay, like the rest of Florida. It seems like Florida's out of control most of the places. So there's that vibe is different. It's a golf cart community, lowest crime rate in the state of Florida. I mentioned that. Okay, so peaceful, kind of serene, non-threatening, nothing going on. You got these downtown squares, and something that Denise and I noticed about these downtown squares. And by the way, we have tours. We have walking tours of all these in addition to the pictures of history I said. Just look for the links when you join our group, or look in the description of our group. You'll find the links there for the tours and for the picture history. We noticed that everything's super well maintained, because that's where your money's going. This money you're paying every month for the HOA, or I guess some people say there's no HOA, but I think that there is, to the developers, to the villages, community development, and also there's no homeless people in the downtown. Okay, it's like, because they really keep on top of everything. It is really, really nice, and it's been nice, and they take good care of things. I will tell you that. That's absolutely, like I said, 3 large public squares, a 4th one being built right now. It's called Eastport, and it will be built. Live music every single night, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Florida's friendliest hometown. Controlled access. Also, my stat here that I found is that, the voter turnout in the U.S. is really low. I don't know, like 33% or something like that. It's 80% here for elections. 80%. People are really involved in what's going on. And they want to see things go well. And I talked about the free golf for life, 3,000 social clubs. Wow, I think we got everything down in like less than 25 minutes. I don't think there's anything that I missed, because you got the lowdown on how big this community is, the 6s, you know about the 6s, right? Actually, let me look on the map here. I'll show you what the 6s look like. The 6s, like right now, we are at 466. There it is. You can see County Road 466 just north of where we are. And then when you go down, you get Sumter County 466A. So that's the 6s, if that gives you a visualization. 6 right above that blue dot. And then down here's the other 6. That's the turnpike down there. And that's where Eastport's going to be, is south of that turnpike. This white area is all villages in here. The bubble. You know what the bubble is now, right? You're ready to take your test. Okay, you're ready to take your villages test. But I would say that everything's really good around here. Denise and I have lived around here for a while outside of the villages. and lived in Marion County and knew about the villages but didn't quite experience it. But it's just a lot of fun. I mean, there are some things that could be improved, and we're going to work on that with the Villages Health Optimization Club. Okay, the variety of foods that are available, making sure you're taking care of yourself, not getting sick. Okay, that's what we do. But the rest of that, they got down already. They got the facilities, they got the designs, they got the creativity. Look, there's even a lighthouse behind me. You see that? Okay, it's not a real lighthouse, but it does have a light, and there's a nice sunset on the lake here every night. You see the sun behind me. It's going to set in a little while. So you have all of that going for you. And the golf cart access, if you're in the golf carts, people say the golf carts never get old. Okay, that's what they say. And why don't you let me know your favorite parts about the villages or your pet peeves about the villages down there. But aside from that, please join us in our The Villages Community Information Group on Facebook. The link is below, and we'll see you there. Mike, 54 years young, signing off. Bye-bye.